Hello, everyone. Welcome to Internship to Impact, the real-life successes in the HPC Systems community. This is a session brought to you by the 2024 HPCC Systems Community Day Summit. My name is George Foreman. I'm a product development technical writer for HPC Systems, and I'll be your host for this session. I work alongside Hugo Watsunuki and Trish McCall to support the academic program, which includes the summer internship program that has been running every year now. This is the 9th year we just completed it. So this presentation is designed to highlight some of the success stories that have come from the HPC Systems internship program. We will be speaking with a panel of 5 former interns who are now all full-time employees with RELX. First, we're going to start with Yash Mishra. He was a part of our class of 2020, and now he is a site reliability engineer 3 and he was from Clemson University. And then we'll also be meeting Nathalia Ribas. She was from the class of 2022. She is a software engineer 1, and she went to the Federal University of Santa Catarina, and which is actually in Brazil, along with Fulvio, Favilla, Filho, who's a part of the class of 2023. He is also a software engineer. He went to the University of Sao Paulo, also in Brazil. So that, and the reason I mentioned that is because it just speaks to the global nature of our internship program that we run, that we had interns from Brazil all the way to the United States, to India, and the UK. We also have Chris Connelly joining us, who is a multiple year student. He joined us in the class of 2020 and 2021. He is a software engineer 3, and he came from North Carolina State University. And then last but not least, we have Jack Del Vecchio joining us. He was class of 2022, and now he is a software engineer 2, working out of the Boca office, I believe. And he is from the University of Miami of Ohio. And now for the questions. Let's get to the panel. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Hello, welcome. I guess let's get started with the questions. So first off, I know let's start right at the beginning here. What attracted you to the HPC Systems summer internship in the first place? Who wants to start? Let's see. Fulvio, let's start with you.
So I applied for the LexisNexis risk solutions internship to gain more experience in big data. And after the first interview, I was impressed by how much the company values and supports its interns. And additionally, learning ECL was a key objective for me.
Very nice, thank you. Jack?
Yeah, I was fortunate to take a class in my undergraduate, and the professor was a previous past LexisNexis employee, and the class was a high performance computing class, and so I got my first real look at C++ coding in high performance computing areas, and I found it so interesting when he suggested the internship, and I started looking through the projects and the application process. It was all really attractive to me, and I loved it ever since.
That's fantastic. Does anybody else want to comment on what first attracted you to the internship? Yeah, Yash?
Yeah, so for me, I was interested in exploring how a distributed environment such as HPCC can operate in a cloud ecosystem. And I had taken a course at my university on cloud computing architecture, and this environment was a mutual interest. And at the time, with the effort to kind of go to the cloud and explore the benefits from a resiliency and performance standpoint. So HPC Systems came into my interest, and I applied for the internship and pursued it.
That's all right. Very good. Thank you so much, Yash. All right. I think we'll move on to question 2 then. How did your expectations of the internship compare to the actual experience? Yash, since you answered the last one, do you have a comment on this one?
Yeah, so it exceeded my expectations. Working alongside professionals and experts. It was a very fruitful experience, I would say, and definitely learned a lot how processes work in an industry compared to in an academia setting, and how cloud can help with HPCC to at the compute network and storage levels. So definitely exceeded expectations for me.
Okay, very good. That's always good to hear. Being involved on our side, interacting with interns, we want this to be something that is both mutually beneficial for the company as well as you guys. When you were an intern and now you are here contributing on the opposite side of that, which is amazing, and that's what we're highlighting here. Chris, you have a comment on this?
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think for me, it also exceeded expectations because it just helped kind of show the type of environment and culture that there is within, all the different parts of LexisNexis, and being able to have the resources shared with me from, being able to work with my mentor and connecting with other people to help with certain aspects of the projects that I had worked on. It was definitely very welcoming and very supportive. And definitely, anytime there was anything that I needed or any help or anything like that, and nobody hesitated to be able to provide any value that they could to help me along.
So, and this isn't even in our question deck, but this just occurred to me. How many of you guys, speaking with Jack and Yash, had prior knowledge of this program, before even getting into it and exploring it? Because Jack, for instance, when you spoke with that your professor who lined you up to let you know that this was an opportunity, I'm guessing he didn't say it was a terrible thing to work here. I'm guessing he said it was a very good experience that they had as well. So did the reputation of LexisNexis and HPC Systems precede that that sparked your interest in getting involved in the internship in the first place?
I think so, and I think the people that I got to work with, the members of the platform team, getting to learn from them and seeing their experience and their knowledge, really blew my expectations out of the water. So the internship and working here since then, I've learned more than I could have imagined. So it's all been a very beneficial experience.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the comments. I think we'll move on to the next question. And I think, Nathalia, I'm going to start with you on this one. So how did working as an intern influence your decision to join the RELX family full-time?
Okay, I had a great time as an intern. I was my first year at the university, so I had the chance to realize the field I wanted to work in, and I learned a lot about the company, enjoyed the team environment. So it strongly influenced me my decision to join the RELX full time.
And that was just the atmosphere, the mentoring, the whole experience, or did it seem like this was just the right fit, for you to stay and be part of the family here?
Yeah, it's all the atmosphere, and the people were really nice and really supportive, all the environment.
Wonderful. Fulvio, how did working as an intern influence your decision to join RELX full time?
So as Nathalia said, working as an intern had a huge influence on my decision to join RELX full-time. I always felt respected and valued throughout the internship, and the supportive culture and opportunities for growth made me confident, and continuing to the RELX as a full-time employee was the right choice.
Thank you so much. Jack, Yash, or Chris, if you have a comment on that, be great if, yeah, go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, I just want to say, working as an intern, my mentor, Dan Camper, he was always a great resource for me. And he was actually the one who was my biggest advocate for finding a position at LexisNexis. So I think being able to continue working with him and continue learning from him really played a role in my decision to join full time.
That's awesome to hear. It's fantastic. So just the whole culture is what I'm hearing. The atmosphere, the culture, the mentoring, and that is one thing we do. Every intern that we bring in here has, you are treated as a colleague. You have respect. We don't treat interns as, you're not there to just run errands or go get coffee. You're there to support and contribute to this platform and the furtherance of it going, for the future of it and the success going forward. So that's wonderful to hear. Thank you so much. We will move on to question 4 now. So what is the most surprising difference you have found between being an intern to a full-time employee? So what's the biggest difference in your daily internship to now I'm a full-time RELX employee? Yash.
Yes, this is definitely a great question, George. So a big difference is that I've seen as a full-time employee compared to an intern is in the scope of your responsibilities. So as an intern, you're dedicated working on a project and making progress along the way. Whereas in a full-time employee, you're wearing a multitude of hats. So you get to expose yourself to different areas of the business and also the processes. So you learn about different technology stacks that are used, different projects that are going on within those stacks to serve the business case, and getting an overall corporate understanding of how the company works.
All right, very cool. Who else has a surprising difference you found between being an intern and then going full time? Fulvio.
I
Yeah.
agree with Yash, and the most surprising, I wouldn't say surprising, but the biggest difference is the level of responsibility. As an intern, I worked on important projects, but as a full-time employee, I have taken on more projects and have greater decision-making power during development. And this increased responsibility has been both challenging and rewarding.
That's really awesome to hear. I mean, and just so everyone watching at home knows, none of these responses were canned. None of these were prefaced. This is all coming from their heart. And that's what we wanted to illustrate in this whole session. Is the true, a true look inside what it's like from being an intern to a full-time employee. We actually did this session here a couple months ago for our interns that we had currently this year, and it was awesome because it was the first time we did it, and they got to see and meet former interns and pick their brains on what it was like being an intern then, what it's like going full-time now. So just giving the audience a little more insight on what we're doing here. But that's a fantastic answer, you guys. I'm so happy to be a part of this and seeing some of your contributions grow over the years, because I've been a part of this for 3 years now. So I remember some of you as an intern, and now seeing it come to fruition as you full-time employees and contributing to the success of our company is really an amazing thing, and so happy to see. So let's move on. I'll move on to the next question. Question 5. How did you feel the internship experience prepared you to land in your current full-time role? So I know some of you said you were doing minor aspects and now you wear a lot of hats. Some of you are working on the same things, different things. How did you feel that internship prepared you to land your full-time position now? Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think it just helped me build, a better skill set, and not only being able to learn lots of different ways to be able to accomplish certain things within ECL or using ECL. Through the projects that I worked on, we did a lot of analytics and ways that we had to kind of dive through and manipulate the data to get some information. So I think now that has really helped me be able to, ask questions of my scripts now when I work on certain projects and make sure that we're covering all the bases, we're not overlooking anything, and there's plenty of ways in how we can check how something's working to make sure everything is as we expect it to be.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Does anybody else have yeah, Jack, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think during my internship when I was developing the MongoDB plugin, it was very nice because previous to that, in school and classes and stuff, I just been working on small projects and little bits of code, but this was my first chance to be a contributor, part of a larger project, and see the full development lifecycle, open pull requests, do reviews. It was my first experience with Jira. So there was a lot of development that I had not seen before. And so it was really great to get experience in all of that and have, a mentor to look over my shoulder and make sure it's all progressing correctly. So it was very beneficial going forward.
Were any of you guys surprised with the depth that you guys were allowed to go as interns when you kind of just jumped in here? I mean, did you expect it to be so in depth of a program and get you that experienced in software development or whatever you were working in your projects on, and you're in the little pockets? Were you expecting that, or did you think it was going to be more surface level stuff that just to get you kind of moving in technology?
I'll quickly answer and then I'll let some answer. But yeah, I think it was very surprising. And the level that I went down and how much there was very surprising.
Fulvio?
Yes, at first I thought we would be more surface level stuff, but I really worked on very interesting and challenging projects as an intern. And the transition between an intern and a full-time employee was really smooth. So was great.
And Chris, how did that work with you? Because you brought in your own data and project that you brought to your internship. How did that work with the level of support that you were given? Were you expecting a full completion of the project when you started? Or was there anything you found along the way that you're like, wow, I didn't realize that these tools were available to go this in depth with this?
Right. Yeah, I think the biggest key was kind of the more kind of effort you put in and the more curious you are, the deeper you can go and the more ways they'll try and find you help do that during your internship. So I think my projects had kind of evolved in a way where once we accomplished one thing and we had goals on what the next step would be, we kind of kept opening new doors and adding new aspects to what we were kind of building into the different parts of the project, and being able to explore stuff like the machine learning libraries to dive deeper into the data and have different angles of how we want to try and analyze it. So yeah, I definitely would say that there was a lot of ways in which I wasn't totally sure we would be able to accomplish, but as time went on and the more we were able to do, we did a lot of things that were things that maybe we thought were just going to be like nice to have if possible, but then everything ended up getting done.
That's so cool. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Chris. All right, does anybody have anything else on this one, or we can move on to the next question? I don't see any mics dropping, so let's move on. Question 6. What advice would you give to candidates hoping to secure a full-time position at RELX? What is your, if you could tell someone one thing, each one of you, what advice would you give to a candidate hoping to become a full-time employee at RELX, or to even get into an internship with LexisNexis and RELX? So Chris, we'll start with you and then I'll work our way through, but just if you can pick one thing, one piece of advice that you found profound in your career as you were transferring from academic student into a RELX employee.
Yeah, I would say biggest thing is just be curious and show that you want to work hard on solving the problems that are involved with your project, because that's the best way for you to not only connect and get support from your mentor, but also possibly find more ways to connect with other people that can help with other specific parts of your project that may have bigger expertise in certain other aspects that maybe your mentor may not be as well versed in, and they can find another person that can help really add to the value and help you accomplish tasks with your internship.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. Nathalia, what would you say? What advice would you give, one piece of advice to someone wanting to get into this RELX family?
I think don't be afraid to share your opinions and ideas for future implementations also, because all the ideas are valid. And yeah, I think sometimes we may have some of like be afraid to share it, but I think it's really important to show you have more you have ideas to improve the process. And yeah, I think that is it.
So share your innovative ideas. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you, Nathalia. Jack?
Yeah, I think if you're one piece of advice, if you're already an intern, reach out to your mentor or developers you might have been working with on your project, because if you let them know your interests and what you liked about your project, they'll be able to find you. Maybe they'll be able to find you positions that correlate to those. And if you're looking for a project to apply for an internship, I would definitely agree with Chris and find something that you're passionate about and you're curious about, and that you can work hard on, that you're going to be interested in. That's the biggest thing I would say.
That's great advice. Fulvio, what would you say?
Yes, as everyone said, being curious and not being afraid to ask questions and reach out, and to show that you are interested in what you're working on, and continuous learning and showing your enthusiasm for what you're doing. I think it's the best tip I could give.
Awesome. And Yash, last but not least, what advice would you give to a candidate hoping to secure a full-time position at RELX?
Yeah. So one helpful item I can say is, if you have the opportunity, present at the HPCC Systems Tech Summit, and that is a great way to connect your work with a large, wider audience at HPCC and LexisNexis in general. So that way, it helps you network with across the various business lines and through various industry leaders, and can help you network with them on a more professional level.
Yep. And I guess along the lines of that is visibility, making yourself known, whether you're internal already as an intern or you're a external who knows the value of being a part of RELX and the company here and the culture and the career growth and everything that comes to being here, and you want your way in, contacting people in the organization, making yourself known to them, knock on those doors and they will answer. So I would say, yeah, be curious and be inquisitive. So that's great advice, guys. Thank you so much for that. Next question is, did you continue to contribute to your projects, the projects you worked on during your internship? Did you continue to contribute to those after the internship? Go ahead, Fulvio.
Yes, I continue to contribute to my project using machine learning techniques to predict cardiovascular diseases during my bachelor thesis. So I expanded my project, including other algorithms such as KNN in the comparative analysis.
Okay, awesome. That's fantastic. So it went with you a little bit longer, and you continue to use the HPC Systems platform to analyze that data. And that's really cool. We've had quite a few interns use our machine learning bundles to do their internship program projects, using GNN, using all kinds of stuff to look at stuff. So that's fantastic. Did anybody else have any posts? Oh yeah, Chris, I see you dropped your mic.
Yeah, so my project, both times I did the internship, was roughly the same, just kind of different data sets from different athletic teams at NC State. But the real ultimate goal with everything we were working on was to have a platform and how we could use the data we were collecting to kind of provide a dashboard where we could show kind of the information we were pulling from this data and different graphics that we could give back to coaches and help them understand kind of where their athletes are at and how ready they may be to perform at a given point in time. So through that, we also were able to help use a tool from LexisNexis called Real BI, which was kind of a web-based dashboard system where you could pull data straight from an HPCC cluster and have it display right on the page in whatever graphics you decide to build. So one thing we did kind of follow up with was create our dashboards within that tool, and then being able to do everything we did with the project and then have everything in that tool. I also was involved in a few different presentations where I presented at the community day a couple times, and as well did some presentations at some other data science conferences to help kind of showcase how we were using HPCC to kind of analyze this data and provide some reports back to the coaches.
And that's important data. I mean, that saves athletes muscles and bones and everything like that. That was very, very good work you did there too. So congratulations on that. Did anybody else contribute post, or did you guys, some of you guys like Nathalia and Jack, go ahead.
Yeah, I was
see
just
you
saying,
have your mic
I still contribute to the MongoDB plugin since I've been hired full time. So it's just one of those things that'll be part of my task list forever, is fixing MongoDB if it ever gets broken. So
well, it's an important thing, so that's good to know. But I mean, and now you've taken your internship and turned that to the point where now you're the SME on that. You're the subject matter expert on the MongoDB stuff. So I think that's pretty cool as well. You've made a niche for yourself within our community by saying, I'm going to be the one who's going to be the expert on this. So it's really cool. Very cool, Jack. All right, number 8. Can you share any tips on building professional relationships during the internship? I know we touched on this a little bit, but formally, any tips on these on how to form those, or who to reach out to? Are we looking down the road, or are we just worried about the mentor you have right now? Let's see, anyone? Yash or Chris? Yeah, Yash, go ahead.
Yeah, so there are multiple approaches you can adapt to build your network within the company in order to reach out to folks. So I would advise start with your mentor and your program manager and expand yourself, understand, do a self-reflection of what you're working on now, what skills you want to develop, and where you want to be in the next few years, and reach out to individuals who are along those lines of the technology or the business, kind of like help them understand what your project is, what other teams are working on, and get their perspective on what it is that you can help with. And in addition, reaching out to other peers who are working in the similar projects as you are across different teams can help you get that level of an overview of what it is and how the process is. So little networking items, although virtually it may be a challenge to not have the face-to-face interaction. However, using tools, Microsoft Teams, I mean, you have access to folks within the company that can help you answer your questions and guide you.
Yep, and that's something that's been reiterated more and more as in the company here, is that the company is building long-term employees. You guys have been here now, I mean, some of you a couple years, or Jack, I think you were 2023, I believe, but you guys have a few years now. But how fast do those years go? It's like that. 3 years is like nothing now for me. It'll be 3 years in January, and it's one of those things where this company, the longevity of the employees here, everyone I work with is 5, 10, 30 years, 34 years. There's a long life and a long career ahead for everyone who wants it here, you know, and is, like Chris said, being curious to expanding things. And like Nathalia said, coming up with innovative ways. I work on this, and now I see that we can go do something else that we didn't think of originally for this, for a tool, or, you know, thinking outside of the box, or how can something else be used. You guys are sharing amazing information here on how these, you know, long-term professional relationships are built. You know, it's brainstorming, it's having ideas, it's having conversations with people. So I mean, these are all very, very, very great points. Does anybody else have anything they want to touch on this question, or should we move on? All right, we'll move on to question 9. How long after your internship did you get hired full time? So let's just go through each of you, because I know some of you were like right away, some of you may have taken a little longer. But let's start with you, Yash. How long after your internship did you get hired full time?
So after my internship, I still had a semester to continue with my studies for grad school. And so I would say about 7 months after my internship, so 2 months after my graduation is when I started the full-time employee.
All right, cool. And Chris, our
Yeah,
two-timer?
for me, it was probably about a month and a half after my second internship. I had just kind of, told my mentor and everybody involved at the time just kind of said, hey, I am interested in pursuing something full time. I just really enjoyed the experience and can feel that it'd be a great environment to work in. And they had seen something that was open in one of the departments within LexisNexis, and they said, hey, you know what? We think this could be something of interest to you, so we'll forward this to you. And they helped kind of recommend me to be considered. So interviewed for the position and ended up eventually getting it. But yeah, it was pretty quick.
All right, fantastic. Fulvio?
So my internship officially ended on December 28th of last year, and I was contacted by my manager to apply for a full-time position on January 5th. So it happened really quickly, and I am grateful for the opportunity to continue to work here.
That's awesome. That is so cool to hear. Nathalia?
Yeah, actually, when I was doing my project for the HPCC Systems contest poster, I was not an intern yet. So I work on the project between 2022 and 2020, 2021 and 2022. And after presented, I think 2 months, 2 months before I presented, I was an intern. I started as intern, and 1 year later, I became a full-time employee. So 2023, I started.
All right, that's fantastic. And last but not least, Jack?
Yeah, so I did my internship the summer of 2022. And then I still had a full school year left after that to finish. But I was looking for work, and I was able to get a part-time contractor job here working on a different plugin, the Parquet plugin, while I was finishing up my studies. So I think I got that in like November after my internship. And then I worked part-time until that summer in 2023 when I became full-time.
All right, very cool. Very cool. Thank you for sharing all your experiences. I know that some of the students and people watching this, that's kind of what they want to gauge and find out is like, you know, how was that experience? Because some of the people watching this are in school looking at their future and like, well, how do I plan my future? How do I look out for these things? So that's kind of what we wanting to shed some light on is your individual experiences, because I can give them hypotheticals, but you guys can give them real life experience. And so that's why you guys are here and sharing this stuff. And I think it's really beneficial to the community. So we're almost done. We have 2 questions left, guys. So we'll finish up strong here. What aspects of the company culture or work environment resonated with you during your internship? Yep, Jack, go ahead, and then we'll go with Chris.
So I think for me it was working with my mentor Dan and some other members of the platform team, but just how encouraging they were with asking questions and how positive their feedback was and encouraging they were. It was all just such a positive experience, and it felt like such a nurturing environment to grow and learn in. So it was it was something that I wanted to stay in.
All right, that's good to hear. And Chris?
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd say just as my internship went on and the project grew and we used some different libraries within ECL or started using some machine learning aspects or we started using the Real BI tools, just along the way, got connected with more and more people within LexisNexis to, help out with some of our efforts and any questions or things we may have had. And anybody that was ever, helping or involved or anything like that was always completely willing to provide any time and effort that they could to be able to help out. There was no one that ever hesitated to be able to, provide any value or any support at all. They, always willing to help and always willing to answer any questions or take some time to chat whenever I needed anything.
I can echo that completely. Even as when I started in the company, it was the same feeling though. The culture was very accepting. If you ever need anything, please reach out. And when you do, they respond and help you. And it's a very welcoming, inclusive culture that we have here, and it's very, very wonderful to be a part of. Does anybody else want to add anything on that? Either Yash or Yash, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with you, George and Chris there. It was a very flexible working environment and a supportive one too, where you're treated with as a professional in a collaborative working space and helpful. I mean, mentors are always helpful. I mean, you don't initially, you may feel like you're drinking water out of a fire hose, but working alongside, over time, and everyone is encouraging you to be your best and positioning yourself so that you perform at your best. That was one of the good aspects for that.
All right, fantastic. All right, thank you. No, that's exactly, the answer. I was expecting that answer, to be honest with you, but it's always good to hear. Again, none of these questions were ever prompted. These panelists are speaking from the heart here. So Nathalia or Fulvio, do you have any comments on that, or we'll move on to the last one? Fulvio, go ahead.
So as everyone said, the culture at RELX is fantastic. I always felt comfortable sharing my opinions and asking questions by my manager and by my coworkers. So I think at RELX, psychological safety is really emphasized. So you always feel comfortable and part of a family, as you said in the beginning of the presentation.
There's a lot of companies that say that, but not a lot of companies feel that, and I truly do feel that myself. I felt that with the interns. I felt that with other colleagues. So, and to hear that echoed throughout, different offices, different cities, in different countries, the message is resonated the same, of all these things. We're speaking from Brazil to the United States right here and all over the place. So it's fantastic to hear these things, that there's a unification, that there's unity within our company. So this is great. We'll move on to the last question, guys. And again, thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate everything you guys have done to support this year's past interns as well. Coming back and being a resource and a tool for them, and a sounding board that they could talk to you instead of just their mentors, hear from previous interns. It really did make a difference on their whole experience this summer. So just thank you all again on that. And so last question, last but not least, it's kind of a no-brainer, but can you describe any moments when you realized that this was the right place for your career? I'll go around the room one more time, and then that'll be it. But so Fulvio, since you were the last one, we'll just go in reverse order. Can you describe any moments you realized that this was the right place for your career?
So there were many moments when I realized that this was the right place for my career. but a key moment was during the presentation of the HPCC Systems poster contest. So it was really rewarding and the most rewarding experience of my internship. So that was a key moment.
Thank you. Chris?
Yeah, I think just kind of through both times I had done the internship and worked on this project, I had actually kind of started the project a little bit before my first internship, but I think I would just say, the fact that anybody that I had worked with and the people from LexisNexis involved with the internship, just everybody showed just as much enthusiasm for my projects as much as I did. And when I had gave presentations on it and I had talked at the community day, just kind of the interest from others and people that had reached out just to chat about the project and ask questions, or just anybody that had helped during the process of the internship, just always interested in my project and wanting to know how it's going and wanting to help however they could, just really showed that it would be a great environment to be working in.
All right, Nathalia?
Okay, there are many moments where I could see a continuous learning and an encouragement to develop both soft and hard skills at the company atmosphere. And this is really important for me. So this has shown me that this is the right place for my career.
All right, Yash?
Yeah, for me, I had the opportunity to present at the 2022 HPCC Systems Tech Summit for a breakout session focusing on cloud. And after my presentation, there were at least 150 participants. So that motivated me and helped me understand with the industry effort to move to the cloud. It felt like the right place to be at. As the saying goes, luck is where preparation meets opportunity. So supply meets demand. So that helped. I mean, that was a moment, and with the addition of a very psychological safe space, as it was mentioned, and the flexible and supportive working environment.
All right. Last but not least.
Yeah, I think I agree with Nathalia. There was, many moments where I thought this was the place for me. But I think the first one that comes to mind was just merging my PR when I finished my project and having my code actually make it into the platform code and persist. I think being able to produce something that's useful to the people and be able to leave it behind for the community. That was probably one of the highlights of my project.
All right. Thank you all. I really appreciate everything you've done, everything you're doing and continuing to do, for spending an hour with us, talking with former, future, past, present interns, anyone who's curious about what it's like being an HPC Systems intern and what was that like going from that process into a full-time role. So I'm just going to say thank you guys once more, really, truly from the heart. I appreciate you all being here today, and thank you. For any extra questions, comments, concerns, please reach out to us. You can email us at students@hpcsystems.com. And again, thank you very much for watching. My name is George Foreman, and I'll see you next time.